was it for you after that John Jones fight to talk about UFC or to even just get on with your career?
Well, it was time. It was tough. You know, I needed some time to recover, and thank goodness I have a good boss at UFC Tonight. They gave me the time I needed. They said, you know, you don't have to come in until you're ready, you know, and I didn't until Sweden. That was the first time I went back, was in Sweden, and that was on the 24th. So it took about 2 weeks to actually let it hurt. A lot of times we try to get over things instead of allowing them to tear at you.
Yeah.
I wanted it to tear at me, and I wanted to feel it to make sure that I never had to feel like that again. And that's what I did, you know. And once I got to the Gustafsson-Johnson fight, it was what I needed. You know, this was a big event. 26,000 people in the middle of the night in Sweden.
Yeah.
It was nuts. And I loved every second of it. And it was the perfect event to actually get me back to doing what I was doing. And the next week was Silva Diaz. So it was like, I went back at the perfect time. But it was very difficult. And I relied on my family more than ever. Selena was great. You know, she sat there and told me, you know, like even after the fight, you know, you tend to want to hang your head and you cry and you're sad. And she said, when you go in there, walk with your head held high because you're a good person.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you know, that's what we strive to be.
So, and you know, you're a guy who not only had, you know, never lost a fight, you know, you'd never lost a round, you'd never been taken down, all those things happen. And how much did all of that together just haunt you? I mean, all those things.
You know what, man? It didn't really haunt me because I knew at some point someone would get a takedown. It's not like we're in the middle of a wrestling mat with wrestling shoes on and the guy took a shot on me and took me down. You know, he pushed me against the side of a cage, locked his hands behind my legs, and picked me up. People ask me all the time, "What happens if Jones takes you down?" I said, "I'm going to get up." Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Losing rounds, I mean, it sucked. I didn't want to lose to that guy. Yeah. You know, that was probably the hardest thing. It ate at me. It tore me up, just the fact that it was to him. Yeah. It wasn't necessarily me losing. It was like it happened against a guy that I really wanted to beat, and that's what made it hard.
Compare and contrast John Jones and Anthony Johnson.
You know, Jones is a very diverse guy. Jones has, grit and determination like nobody else. I mean, for all of his faults, this dude has championship qualities. And he's always trying to win. It doesn't matter what's going on in the fight. He's always trying to win. Even when he's beat dead to rights in the Gustafsson fight, he threw that elbow until he got one and won the fourth round. And in the fifth, you saw what he's made out of. He's diverse in his striking. He'll mix it up and he'll fight you where you're best at. And most times he'll get you in that area. Whereas Anthony Johnson, he is who he is. He does what he does. He's a power striker. He can defend takedowns and he can wrestle. I think a very telling thing for me is, and I understand it was a time ago, and this is no knock on Anthony. This is just the truth. Anthony Johnson lost to Vitor Belfort. Anthony Johnson lost to Josh Koscheck. Anthony Johnson lost to, what was the guy's name? Rich Clemente.
Yeah.
Okay? And in those situations, when Anthony Johnson ran into trouble, I know he was at 170. He didn't necessarily fight as hard to get out of those positions, just as we saw with Machida and Rockhold. Machida didn't attack the hands to stop the choke. He allowed him to choke him out. Jones will never do that. Jones will never. It doesn't matter. His arm got broken against Vitor, and what did he do? He kept fighting. I think that's probably the biggest difference between those two. Is Anthony different today than he was back then? Yes. But there's something inside of him that when it gets super tough, tries to find an exit. It's up to you to go put him there.
And with everything you've been through, you're not exactly a fighter who looks for an exit either.
Never did. I will never look for an exit. When Jones was beating me in the fourth or fifth round, I never once thought for a second, find a way out of this octagon. I kept trying to fight.
Yeah.
My deal was I'm going to fight. For as long as I'm in here, I'll try to fight. Was I able to do that? No. John was able to control me and unbelievable how he controlled me against the side of the octagon. But I never searched for that exit. It would have been very easy for me to lay under John when he got me down in the fourth and get brutalized with elbows and get finished. We've seen it happen before. When he finally got chailed down, he was out of there. Fourth round against Vitor Belfort. When he got him down, he got him with a straight armbar. Vitor's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. That doesn't happen. people will find ways out of the octagon if they want out. And I never try to find my way out. I never thought for a second that I was done. I kept fighting.
How would you describe this opportunity Saturday?
The biggest opportunity in my life. I mean, I never thought that I would be here right now. I figured down the line I would fight for the title again. But right now, no chance. But it's the biggest opportunity to date. You know, you don't get second chances. And I've got a second chance.
What do you see the outcome Saturday?
I think I'm going to win. I really do believe with every part of me that I'm going to beat Anthony Johnson. I know he's a fantastic fighter. I know he's reinvented himself. I know that he has big power, but that's not enough. If you're going to beat me, you got to be a complete mixed martial artist. And you got to be able to do everything. Just being able to wrestle is not enough. Just being able to strike is not enough. You got to be able to grapple, wrestle, strike, and do everything else. And I just don't think he's good enough to beat me. I'm going to beat him on Saturday.
Daniel Cormier fighting Anthony Johnson, UFC 187 Light Heavyweight Championship, Las Vegas, Saturday. Looking forward to it, man.
Thank you.